Soul Game Saga Part 11 of Infinity. The Spiritual War. The combatants of the spiritual war will consist of the following details. The Devil Standard versus the religions destroyed and turned into God's Soul Standard. Next, you have what can be labeled and described as the white leadership versus the tribes destroyed and turned into the black leadership. Always remember, never forget, with me, I don't give a two rats behinds about no color. I don't give two rats. I don't give no care about color at all. Let me just say that, right? I do not care about color at all. Let me tell you what I care for. What I care for are the actions of the people. What I notice are what the people are doing. What I notice is who hates me and who does not. You follow what I'm saying? So, the spiritual war. More combatants now. Next. Before I even go on, I'm gonna say this. I'm only using color because that's what you all use. That's what you all use, and I desire to respect and love all things in reality. However, all things in reality cannot be respected nor loved at the current moment in time because of the current way in which they are. So that has to change. How can that change? By telling them how they can change it. Or at least that's a step. You follow what I'm saying? So, back to the details. I'm still going to use white and black for a while. I could use recessive and melanated, but y'all comprehend white and black for the current moment in time, at the current moment in time, so that's what I'm just going to use until I ain't got to use it no more. And you all know what I mean when I say melanated or recessive. All right, now back to the combatants. Melanated, recessive, or recessive and melanated. Back to the combatants. So, after the white leadership versus the tribes being destroyed and turned into the black leadership, then you have the black leadership. After the black leadership, you have the white fighters versus the gangsters, destroyed and turned into the black fighters. And then lastly, you have the white civilians versus the nerd geek culture, destroyed and turned into the black civilians. But then there's more. After those first four, you have the next five, which are essentially tactics and ideas. Because remember, it's a spiritual war. So that means keeping it in the spirit. And when I say keeping it in the spirit, I mean keeping it in the senses. Play your spirit so I can hear it. Play your spirit so I can hear it. Play your spirit so I can know where you come from. And how you operate, why you operate the way you operate. You follow what I'm saying? Next, so the next five now. There are five more combatants. The first one, the 16 evil supremacy dimensions versus Christ logic impact, which will be the 16 soul supremacy dimensions incorporated in them. Next combatant, you have the 10 enemy regulation forces versus the NSEB, or the negative spirit exodus blueprint idea. It's all in the spirit. So that means the 10 measurement words, although the 10 measurement words didn't show up until the Super Yahusha 4-7 game, which will be the next combatant on the list, still, the NSEB will be a counter to the 10 enemy regulation forces. And then in the next game, the 10 measurement words will play out because it's a tie-in to it, you know. In other words, it's like a battle royale in the spirit, but it's not a battle royale. It's their individual things fighting each other, but it's all one thing fighting each other at the same time. Balance versus evil. Balance versus evil. Balance versus evil. That's what it consists of. The next three combatants. So remember, the 10 enemy regulation forces versus the NSEB and or negative spirit exodus blueprint, for the birth and or the genesis of the 10 measurement words, or the 10 soul measurement words will be in place. Quantum, moral, karma. Quantum, moral, karma. Moving forward. Third combatant for the other side of the list, or the other side of the fight. Because the first four will be playing out more so internally, And then the other four, well, the first four will be playing out more so externally. Externally will be the first four, but then internally, these five that I'm mentioning here. It's reverse. You'll get what I mean in a moment. Watch this. So then the next combatant, after the 10 enemy regulation forces, you have the 9 foul principality sins. The 9 foul principality sins, which are as follows. First, ignorance, then greed, then gluttony and lust, and then vanity. And then after vanity, you have wrath, sloth, jealousy, and fear. Those are the 9 foul principality sins plagiarizing our mind heart spaces currently. And those 9 foul principality sins will be up against Super Yahusha 4-7, which also incorporates the reversal of the sins. You follow what I'm saying? That game incorporates the reversal of the sins. And then every game after that overwhelmingly reverses the sins back to normal. And what do I mean by reversing sins back to normal? Reversing them back to the artificial plagiarizing in which they truly are. You are not sin. You are God's love. You are God's love. You are the God soul standard itself. You are the God soul standard itself. You art the God soul standard itself. Moving forward. Next combatant. After the 9 foul principality sins versus Super Yahusha 4-7 idea, you have the 4 soul manipulation tactics. I'm going to call them the 4 soul manipulation tactics. That's what I'm going to call them. The 4 soul manipulation tactics. And the 4 soul manipulation tactics will be going up against Cosmic Yahusha 6-9, which will also incorporate the full mastery. Remember, it's a soul game. And in the soul game, I'm telling you how you logically feel like. It'll incorporate the full mastery of the 4 fundamental forces of human emotion. And they're going to be all in one, and/or they're going to be labeled as 2, one internal and one external. The internal will be positive and balanced love. And then the external would be what this here energy within thee manifest unto thine environment. You follow what I'm saying? Next. Then you have, after the 4 soul manipulation tactics, you have the 4 reverse somatic divine task. And they will be going up against Free Yahusha 8-4. Coming back to your senses in full. The 4 reverse somatic divine tasks will be going up against Free Yahusha 8-4, which also has incorporated the mastery of the 4 reverse divine tasks, or the four divine tasks, so the 4 somatic divine tasks, the 4 reverse somatic divine tasks, and the 4 somatic divine tasks. Reverse somatic and somatic, regular somatic and reverse somatic. Details now. Spiritual War, Soul Game Saga Part 11 of Infinity, the Spiritual War. These are what I just listed are going to be the combatants thereof. However, take these words now. The soul represents those first 4 combatants in each thing in which they will be fighting against, whereas the spirit represents the other 5. But hold on for a second. The spirit it plays the external aspects of our reality, whereas the soul is the internal aspects of our reality. So wouldn't it be better to have those top 4 on the bottom being the 5 and the 5 being on top as the internal works? Here, remember, it's reverse for me. Or to give you a comprehension of the spirit with more accurate detail, I'm using parables that are reverse of full meaning. For example, I say things like, I'm going to most likely stab every fake artificial character on this planet to death. That's what I'm saying in the physical. But it's actually already happened to you, and you're actually already stabbed and pinned down in the spirit. You follow what I'm saying? So in other words, it's like I'm using words that are like reverse psychology, but then it's like direct psychology simultaneously. Whatever it takes to wake you up, and whatever it takes for us to get our home back to normal. You follow what I'm saying? So more details then. The soul consists of the internal aspects of ourselves, our actual selves. You follow what I'm saying? Our actual selves. Our actual selves. Notice the first 4 are the devil's soul standard versus the religions which will be destroyed and turned into God's soul standard. The religious beliefs are going to be destroyed and turned into God's soul standard. And this represents the soul's aspects of the spiritual war. What are the details here? What I'm getting at. Right now, currently, your artificial characters are being driven to be what they are due to the devil soul standard. Right now, your fake artificial characters are being driven to be what they are due to the devil's artificial soul standard. And another reason why, too, the devil is getting ready to come out with artificial intelligence, because the devil wants to have more control over your mind. You're beginning to figure it out. That's bad. That means the devil has to send more things into the air to influence you to be unfair. The devil has to put and or influence more things into the spiritual air, so to ensure that your mind would manifest things unfair. You follow what I'm saying? Moving forward now. So, the devil's soul standard versus God's soul standard once the religions are destroyed and turned into this belief system. This is a new setup, by the way, because at first I was saying the leadership, the white leadership will be going against the religions. That's what I said at first. Switching it up a bit because it's going to make more sense like this. So, we need a better driver, right? We need a better driver, spiritually speaking. Quantum, where our energy derives from, the quantum space. This should be our driver in the spirit. You follow what I'm saying? Or in this, or the driver of our souls, the driver of our actual selves. Because ultimately, what I'm getting at is this: the actual self is the engine of the vehicle. Your actual self is the engine of the vehicle. You follow what I'm saying? Your spirit is the vehicle's coating, the vehicle's tires, this vehicle's steering wheel, the vehicle's radio, the vehicle's windows to see out of. You follow me? Whereas the actual self is the battery and the power and the components thereof, in which give the spirit its abilities to be one, the soul. And the driver of this here spirit soul vehicle, or this soul spirit vehicle, is either the Most High God, just love energy, or which is balanced love energy, or a balanced mental and emotional quality, because that's what love is. Love is your mental and emotional quality by default. Love is your mental and emotion quality by default. And it's a balanced love, your balanced mental emotion by default. If we allow this type of energy to drive us in this here world in which we reside in, we would move and or march better towards a more finer outcome in life. Moving forward. Right now, currently though, the devil, we need to kick the devil out of the steering wheel, out of the car, and allow essentially the car itself to drive itself. We essentially have an autopilot vehicle if the destruction of the religious belief systems work, and they are reverted back towards being the God soul driver or the God soul standard. You follow me? The standard we are trying to manifest is God's, the actual gods, the universal gods. The reason why our melanin is the color in which it is. It's because of God. Revelation real quick. By using quantum moral karma. More ideas. I just found out that this here Yaqub that I've been speaking of, this Dr. Yaqub, turns out he's known as Prophet Yaqub in the Jewish religion. And Prophet Yaqub is the father of the 12 tribes of Israel. I'll stay silent for a moment to give you a second to click off. Any rate, am I just throwing these speculations out here? No, I'm going off of what the information says. It's spelled Y-A-Q-U-B in the Jewish religion or in the Torah. And Y-A-Q-U-B, which is Prophet or Dr. Yaqub, who generated the white people 66 centuries ago, or 6,600 years ago, or 6,600 years ago, according to the stories thereof. Yaqub is the father of 12 sons. And each of these 12 sons are ancestors of their respective tribes, like the tribe of Benjamin or the tribe of Judah. You follow what I'm saying? Or it's actually called Judah, but his name at first was, I believe, Yahuwah, something like that. Yahuwah, something like that. I have to look it up again. The names are they're a bit difficult to remember, but not so much. The more you say it's difficult to do something, the difficult it will remain. Start saying it's easy to memorize, and then maybe it'll be easier to memorize. Moving forward. So here, I found out that Dr. Yaqub, or Prophet Yaqub, according to the Jewish religion, is the father of the 12 tribes of Israel, or the sons that the tribes were born from, if that makes sense. What am I ultimately getting at? Israel was the devil's sword before colonization. And the Anunnaki was the devil's sword before Israel. Gave you a minute to click off the video. Moving forward though, so here. Using this information through, and I'm able to solve this because I am using a vision known as quantum moral karma. How did the white people become the way they are? Where did they come from to get to the way they are? I heard there were aboriginals that were grafted down to be what they are, to graft them into recessive people. But what's the full story? You follow me? They are not aliens. No human being on this planet is an alien. You're only aliens by way of your laws that you all set up so you can have an easier chance to conquer our lives, not even realizing the laws you set up are actually against your own best interests in every way possible. They all are. But here's more insight though. Here's more insight. Yaqub's name is also Jacob in the Bible. It's also Jacob. And remember, Yaqub had his name changed to Israel, Isis, Ra, El Shaddai. Isis, Ra, El Shaddai. Yaqub had his name changed to Israel. Probably because he was the one that was going to follow the devil more effectively than anything. And before, like I said, before Israel was the Anunnaki, An, Nuna, Ki, An, Nuna, Ki, An, meaning sky, Nuna, meaning offspring, Ki, meaning earth. An, Nuna, Ki. The way I see it, An is Ra. Nuna is El Shaddai. And Ki is Isis. It's like the devil has to put these three names in one at all times. One representing the offspring, one representing the life force of the offspring, and one representing her herself. That's what it seems like her trinity always is. That's what it seems like the devil's trinity always is. At every time it sets up a trinity, it puts herself first, or it puts herself in there somewhere, like Holy Spirit, for example. How about sensual spirit instead? Then you have the offspring, whatever the offspring's title will be, like the sun or Vishnu or Brahma. And then you have the life force, like Vishnu, for example. People are saying that Brahma was born from Vishnu's navel, and then people are saying that Brahma created the universe, including Vishnu. Stick to one story. Stick to the one that's actually true. And then we can move forward from there faster. You follow what I'm saying? So the ideal is to manifest the devil's, or the idea is to, manifest the devil's destruction. Sure, I'm going to just add that in there because I was going to say manifest God's soul standard into the world. The idea is to manifest God's soul standard into the world, but in order to do that, we have to first destroy all the things giving the devil's soul standard its abilities to manifest. And these details in which I've listed, these other 8 combatants within this here spiritual war for the Soul Game Saga Part 11 of Infinity, they are more reasons and or more things we must compete against in order to ruin this here devil soul standard trying to manifest to within and throughout us all unto our physical environment. You follow what I'm saying? Moving forward now. So the combatants, real quick. The other 3 combatants for the soul. Remember, the soul is the actual self. So the conscious mind. Remember, the soul is the conscious mind, subconscious mind, and unconscious minds all in one. All in one energy. All in one just love energy. The conscious mind, subconscious mind, and unconscious mind. By definition as well, because the word soul defines as emotional or intellectual energy or intensity, especially as revealed in the work of art or as an artistic performance. Emotional energy, subconscious mind. Intellectual energy, conscious mind. Intensity or just energy, unconscious mind. Because the word energy, don't forget, the strength and vitality required for sustained physical or mental activity. And your conscious mind, subconscious mind, and unconscious mind is what gives your spirit and its five senses its abilities to remain what it is. So that means just love is giving your spiritual force its abilities to be what it is. Once again, just love energy is giving your spiritual forces energy, its abilities to be what it is. And if you just let go and let God be what it is, better world by obligation. So for this parable to make more sense, the white leadership, as well as the tribes, belief system pillar 6, being destroyed and turned into the melanated leadership, they're both going to represent what's fighting it out for control of the conscious mind here. You follow me? The melanated leadership. Why do I say melanated leadership? Simple. Melanated people governing themselves. Because right now, currently, the recessives are forcing them to deal with their governance. Did you know every single country on this planet harbors illegal alien white folks? You want to know why? Because every country on this planet is land stolen by white folks. They all are. Asia is 5,000 years old. Just by hearing that alone lets me know that there's a story involved with a group of people being sent to conquer another group of people who are already inhabiting the land, just like Israel did throughout all of its history. Oh, and guess what? Israel was a bunch of black folks at first. Just like Dr. Yaqub. And another thing is, too, if this story is actually true, then that means that Yaqub turned all of his grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren into white folks. Because throughout the tribes of Israel are the only areas or the only offsprings in which Yaqub manipulated to become white folks, according to the stories. If you look at Revelation 7, you'll find that 12,000 sealed people were plucked from each of the tribes of Israel. What do you mean by sealed people? People with their genetics, their melanin genetic class, their melanin, beautiful galactic melanin, sealed into their bodies so we no longer be able to see it again. That's what it means. You follow what I'm saying? Moving forward. Conscious mind being the white leadership or the recessive leadership versus the belief system pillar 6 destroyed and turned into the black leadership or the melanated leadership for control over itself. And then you have next for the subconscious mind, you have the white fighters or the recessive fighters, which make up the military forces. The white leadership make up the governments and the offices and all them people in thereof. And then you have the white fighters, which make up the military forces and the armies and and all the navies and coast guards and Marine Corps and all of that. Then you got them going against the gangs, the gangster belief system pillar. It's about to get an upgrade soon. How? Here's how. Because once the gangster belief system pillar is destroyed, as well as the things I'm going to say out loud in the process of entrenching my Soul King military army, will cause a lot of the melanated people within the military to leave and actually associate with the gangsters. In other words, I am stealing all of humanity away from the devil and bringing you back to the I side. So like scorpion rope, all of humanity, get over here and take these combos. Peace, love, unity, and advancement. You follow what I'm saying? And when I say I'm stealing all of humanity from the devil, what do I mean? Well, who's the devil? Unfortunately, the genetically modified people as an entire whole, and all of the melanated people globally as an entire whole are not the devil, whereas the white folk are, unfortunately. Remember, they are weaponized black people. White people are technically weaponized black folks. Turned into the devil's sword, just a new face. They're just a new face. You can call them the colonizers. Or at least that's what the devil wants to call them. Or at least that's the devil wants us to call them. Colonizers. You follow what I'm saying? And just like Israel did, black Israel, all throughout history, was being driven by the same devil to conquer lands of people who were already living there. Same tactics. Just a different just a different face, just a different mask. Same tactics though. Same tactics. You want to know where racism derives from? The devil mother of harlots. You want to know where colonization derives from, or Israel derives from, or the Anunnaki derives from? The devil mother of harlots. Next, you got the white civilians, or the recessive civilians, versus belief system pillar 4, the nerd geek culture. Belief system pillar 5 is the gangsters. Belief system pillar 4, what do I mean by belief system pillars? It's about 7 of them in total, technically up to 9, in which they must be targeted and destroyed by any moral means necessary in order for global child manumission and global moral purification to be established. You follow what I'm saying? Moving forward. I'm just saying these words because of that idea that needs to be brought to life. Put good life into the spirit, not death. Stop putting death into the spirit. That's what the devil does. Why you want to be like the devil? Stop being like the devil. Moving forward. So, the white civilians versus belief system pillar 4, the nerd geek culture, destroyed and turned into the melanated civilians. Now, the white leadership handles the trickery nature, or the deceitful nature of the devil's nature, or the devil's force, or the devil's soul standard. Then you have the white fighters, or the white military forces, all of them thereof. They handle the devil's abusive and or oppressive standard and or oppressive nature. You follow what I'm saying? And then you have the white civilians. They handle the devil's subtle and or spiritual, because subtle and spirit, same type of energy, subtle, spirit. They handle the devil's spiritual nature. You follow what I'm saying? And like I said, like the 4 reverse somatic divine tests, it's all going to be incorporated into one fight, honestly. It's all it really is. And like I said, the 4 reverse somatic divine task, the one that I've been working on, they show up with the establishment first, which is what the leadership did essentially. And as well as the resurrection, which is the violent beat it in, which is what the military force did. And then they have to keep on reminding us and or keep on getting us to accept it and ensuring that this is all that we know. Keep getting us to accept it and ensure that it's all that we know. You follow me? That's the reincarnation, and that's the devil's reincarnation through us. And then that's the devil's reawakening through us. You follow what I'm saying? So here, the four somatic divine tasks, the way I have it in proper order, is the reawakening first, the reincarnation second, the resurrection, and the reestablishment. Reawakening, gaining awareness of who thou art truly, and allowing that to lead and guide you versus the devil's ideas leading and guiding you. And then you have second, the reincarnation, accepting who you are after you've learned about it. And then you have the resurrection, coming back to your divine senses and getting ready to apply them into the physical, because as soon as you come to this resurrection, they are going to be right in your faces, being with the disrespect they've already had for you for the entire time. You follow what I'm saying? They had this disrespect for you the entire time, and now you are just now getting ready to see it once you go through your reincarnation and your resurrection phases. And then finally, for the 4th one, the reestablishment. The reestablishment. The establishment of God's soul standard. The establishment of the God's soul standard. Remember, they had to approach us first with the with the talking and the beating of the devil's soul standard in order to get us to the resurrection point where they had to now fight us more directly in order to install the devil's soul standard. And then finally, the reincarnation and the reawakening. The white civilians handle all that. Getting us to constantly accept that we're not oppressed even though we are. Getting us to constantly accept that this world is the truth when it isn't. This world is a lie in every way possible. But they have to constantly get us to reincarnate or accept the idea. And then they have to ensure that this world will be all that we know, the awakening or the awareness portion. You follow me? They just come with it reversed. And that there is going to be going up against free Yahusha. Free Yahusha. Real quick. Souls and spirits. Soul, spirit. Soul is the actual self. The actual self. Those 3 forms of the white body make up the devil's actual self. Those 3 forms of the white body make up the devil's actual self. And those 3 forms of the melanated body is what I'm just getting ready to make up so they can become God's actual self and kick the devil 47 centillion yards away. And then after that, we can just rip out the weaponized black people and force sheave them. Then pick up the non-weaponized black people and fuse with them. And once we fuse with them, Get ready for the next battle. Snoop Dogg voice from Tekken Tag Tournament 2, right? Get all the jokes out the way. Now, soul spirit real quick. Soul is the actual self, right? I just said that. And what spirit is are the five senses in which give the soul its abilities to have a body. Spirit is the five senses that give the soul its abilities to have a body. So that means the sense of sound, the sense of hearing, I meant to say, or sound doesn't matter. The sense of touch, which is your physical flesh body's abilities to do touch. You follow me? And then you have the sense of sight, third. Then you have the sense of taste, fourth. And then the sense of smell comes finally, according to the way they have it set up. And each of these parables that I have listed as combatants, meaning the 16 evil supremacy dimensions, those are the hearing sound, because the oppressive body has to hear what to put into our world, versus the Christ logic impact, because that's the first thing I came at with you to hear, to put into our world, to combat against it. You follow what I'm saying? And then the next competitor that ties in with its sense as well for the soul game, Saga Part 11 of Infinity to Spiritual War, you have the physical body, the 10 enemy regulation forces versus the NSEB. Get your negative spirits out of us. Remember, it's a spiritual fight. Next, you have the 9 foul principality sins versus the Super Yahusha 4-7. That'll be the sight right there. That's the sight of the soul. That's the sight of the soul right there. That's the spiritual sight of the soul. The spiritual sight of the soul. Say it like that, right? And because what we need to see is the right thing to do. Well, plain and simple. But here's the thing. They only give us the wrong things to see. The 10 enemy regulation forces. What are the 10 enemy regulation forces? Disrespect, frustrate, humiliate, agitate, aggravate, provoke, classify. And then you have the last 3, brand new, actually. Exploit, extort, and destroy. They come at us with that at sight. That's what they're coming at us with on sight. You follow what I'm saying? They're coming at us with those 10 things on sight. And the Super Yahusha 4-7 game gives us the abilities to beat that. Spiritual fight, spiritual war, you see? Moving forward now. 4th combatant. The 4 soul manipulation tactics versus the Cosmic Yahusha 6-9 soul game saga. Remember, what you logically feel like. What do I mean by the 4 soul manipulation tactics? Details. Quick. So, we have a positive aspect of our soul, a balanced aspect of our soul, a force aspect of our soul, and an akasha aspect of our soul, right? But here's the thing. The enemy comes and reverses all of them, uses all of them to manipulate and drive us towards dying faster, as it's the only thing that the enemy wants us to do. Manipulate us towards dying faster. Feminism, what it does is controls us, or tries to control us, but just to keep us in the space that the enemy has the ability to just, you follow what I'm saying? That's what feminism does. Feminism just keeps us in the space. They don't want to do anything else. Just want to do whatever the devil wants them to do. Keep us in the space so that the racism and all the other belief systems can just lay out they crap all over us and ensure we all die faster. That's the goal there. You follow what I'm saying? Moving forward. The 4 soul manipulation tactics are connected to the taste. Yeah, because it's like the enemy only has a taste to manipulate us to die. You follow what I'm saying? That'll be going up against Cosmic Yahusha 6-9 Soul Game Saga to beat that one. And then the final one, connected to the smell sense. You have the 4 reverse somatic divine tasks. The 4 reverse somatic divine tasks. Why do I call it divine though, man? Because the devil in its absolute form, or the true devil, is actually divinative to some degree. Because it was born from the universe. It was born from the universe. Ethereal grandmother parable. But here, to finish it off, the final battle, or the last one to talk about the 4 reverse somatic divine tasks versus Free Yahusha 8-4, where what's incorporated into that game is the mastery of the 4 fundamental forces of human emotion. You follow what I'm saying? And that'll be going up against this here to stop it from being what it is and allow our souls to be what it truly desires to be itself. You follow me? This here spiritual war that I just set up, or that I just mentioned out loud, those 9 combatants will be going against those 9 combatants, and each of them will be one thing. The soul combatants are just love, and the devil's combatants are just hatred. So in other words, this idea is to help us manifest, once again, just a regular old soul standard into our world versus the devil's soul standard. And I keep saying soul because it's a type of intellectual energy or intensity in which you must know of. It's a type because the soul is emotional or intellectual energy or intensity, especially as revealed through the spiritual senses work of arts or their artistic performance. You follow what I'm saying? The soul standard is going to win. That's all I wanted to share with you for this video. This has been Soul Game Saga Part 11 of Infinity, the Spiritual War. Shalom, shalom, shalom. You are the God's soul standard. Allow you to be reestablished. Plain and simple. No evil of this world has the ability to decide who thou art should be and or how thou art should be set up. Therefore, by any moral means necessary, manifest these 4 words after this one. Peace, love, unity, and advancement to you all, my family.